I'm confused.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for our third session and training. And we're excited. We're going to turn it over to our teacher and passionate patriot, lover of children, lover of God, and all-around great person, Linda Doering. Take it away.
Let's see if I can share the screen. I don't know exactly what's going on. Usually I just hit share screen and it shares the screen. Let me see, maybe I have to, hang on just a second.
No, it's working.
Okay, okay, great.
It's okay, Linda. It's taking a little time. I don't know why there's a little
There we go.
hourglass there.
How's that? Does that look better? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
It hasn't appeared for me yet. It still has, there we go. Does everyone see it?
Yes.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yes.
Very good.
I don't see it.
Okay, Linda,
Uh-oh.
go ahead.
So, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Somebody still having trouble seeing it?
The video stopped. That's strange. I might have to come back in again. I don't know why it did that.
Maybe a restart or something.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But it's good for everyone else, so we can get started. Go ahead.
So basically with, we did the theory of education and hopefully everybody got a copy of the notes I copied and pasted. Just kind of gives you the background, why we teach what we do, and it just makes sense. And I'm finding more and more of the schools to be very receptive. So usually 6th grade, we would give this part 1, but now it's like anytime we do a school, we start with part 1 if they haven't received it before, and it just kind of sets the tone. And it's, we call it the 6 gifts that you are born with. And what's kind of nice, you have the script that was sent out, and it really helps. And it's very simplistic, basically. And it starts off with, how many of you have you ever dreamed about becoming rich? All the hands go up, and winning the lottery. Say you won the lottery, say you won $5 million. To the participants here now, I'm going to wave my magic wand. You're in the 7th grade. You're 12 years old. What would you do if you won $5 million? Pastor, what would you do with $5 million? If you say you're 12 years old, what do you think? Answer. It's hard to believe, right? Where to start? How about you, Linda? What would you do with $5 million? And again, you're just 12.
You're overwhelmed. Oh, I would go all over the world.
Nice, nice. Richiko-san, what would you do with $5 million? Say you're a 12-year-old in my class. What would you answer?
Yes. Probably I said the same thing. I want to go around the world.
Around the world. What country would you start with?
Europe.
Europe, nice, nice. It's kind of more close together, right? I can't see everybody's name anymore. Vicky, what would you do with your $5 million?
And you're at age 12?
Yeah. How would you answer if you say you're 12 years old?
I would buy a giant bag of Tootsie Rolls. And then I would take as many as I could to Disneyland.
Wonderful. Oh man, I want to go with you. So what happens is, why did I say 12 years old? Because we tend to be more altruistic and more giving and thinking of charity and helping the world and stuff. But kids and some of them do, they say, oh, I would, do volunteer work. I would buy my mommy a house, So you see all these different, I'm going to party, So you see, we have the partiers and the investors. So the partiers, they're a lot of fun to be with. But as soon as their money is gone, so are all the friends. you know. Now investors, may not be so cool in the beginning, you know, they may not even be very popular, but they invest in the future. So in the future, things are much more bright for them. You know, they're thinking about how to take care of themselves, not just in the present. Believe it or not, all of us already have won some things that are more valuable than winning the lottery. And that may be hard for us to see, but it's true. 6 reasons why you've already won. And first of all, when you were born, you had your health. You have good health. And, you know, some people, unfortunate, they don't all have good health, but most people tend to have good health. And if you were a millionaire and you had really bad health, like it was too painful to even get out of bed, wouldn't you gladly spend that money to get your health back? Sure. So you've already won. And how about your mind? What can you do without your mind? All behavior begins with thinking. Some people have Alzheimer's, you know, that they've lost their mind, and you know, people take our mind for granted, you know, but to have a clear mind, to be able to think and to organize your day even, you know, so just having your mind is just amazing. Also our heart, you know, our ability to feel emotions. You know, what if, you know, do any of you have a pet animal, pet dog or cat? How about when you come home from school, don't they go, yip, 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 licking you and wagging their tail, you know? And what happens if your pet, you love him so much, but you don't feel anything? You have no heart. You have no ability to feel love or give love. What an empty life, you know? So that's another gift that we were born with. And our willpower. Sometimes people say, what is willpower? And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's your, you know, desire and energy to put your dreams, inventions, you know, your plans into action. You know, like you can think of all these great things. I used to do a drug rehab clinic, and this one guy, he was so amazing. He was just a regular street thug, you know, but I saw him like in a 3-piece business suit on Wall Street. When he would talk, he had so many ideas and inventions, and I tried to guide him where people could help formulate his. So he you know, he had all these ideas, but he didn't have the willpower because of drugs. He didn't have the willpower to put those into action. You know, it's kind of so sad, So willpower, being able to actualize the things you're thinking about. And here, one of the greatest patriots America has ever known, who is he? And all the kids know him. It's just amazing. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's amazing. And he said, he says, you know, that it is the content of our character that is so important, and that we should be guided by our conscience. He was a man, he did not want to be in the forefront with all the horrible things that were going on in America at that time with race relationships, but he just felt a calling. He says, I can't just stand by and watch anymore. So he's called by his conscience. You think, well, what is conscience? Well, you know, on Saturday mornings when you watch cartoons, you know, you see the little angels on the shoulder, the little devils on the shoulder, and the angel saying, if you do this, you're going to be in trouble. And the devil, what does the devil say? Do it. So that's your conscience, you know, that you do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to make money or get fame or anything like that, but you do the right thing because it's just the right thing to do. You have a gift of reproduction. Again, some people have difficulty, but most of us are blessed with we've inherited the gift of reproduction. So what is this a picture of? Does anybody know? A sunflower? Maybe it's a Van Gogh. It's a sunflower.
Cell egg. It's an egg.
Yes, yes, it's
ovum.
Yes, it's an electron microscope photo of a human egg, and it's surrounded by sperm.
Yes.
Yes, and so until recently, experts thought that fertilization occurred when the enzymes on the head of the sperm acted like dynamite and would blast through the outer shell of the egg, and that's how the sperm came inside of the egg and fertilized the egg. But now the scientists understand that each egg actually selects the sperm that it mates with. We don't know how. And then it makes, so the egg is making the first decision that it can't take back. It can't spit the sperm out and say, no, not you, somebody else, you know. They make this one commitment to this one sperm, and that's the one they hold on to. So the egg actually, when they look under the microscope, the egg actually like opens and embraces the sperm, brings it, and then it's a shut gate. No other sperm can get in, nobody can get out. They're completely monogamous. They have one love partner in a lifetime. And so it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating. So then we have the fusion of chromosomes. So you see the egg is the smaller of this picture on the left-hand side. This is the egg nucleus, and this is this, this is the egg, and this is the sperm. So the sperm has 23 chromosomes. The egg has 23 chromosomes. 23 plus 23 equals what?
46.
46 chromosomes. It's just amazing. So with girls, with females, they have 2 X chromosomes. The egg was an X chromosome and the sperm was an X chromosome. With a boy, the egg is always X. It never changes. But the sperm, depending upon which one is fertilizing the egg, can either be an X or a Y. So if the egg is an X and the sperm is an X, what did we have? It's right, we had a girl. Now, if this egg was an X, because it's always an X, but the sperm was a Y, what do we have? That's right, we have a boy. It's just, and you know, it's kind of amazing to me because I look at, you know, from the world perspective, we're almost pretty much 50-50. I don't know how, you know, it's so random. It seems so random, but we're almost completely 50-50 with girls and boys. So when we look at the little person over here, it says XY. Is this a boy or girl? It's a boy. This is an XY. Is that a boy or girl? It's hard to tell, right?
Boy.
It's a boy. This is an XX. What's this?
Girl.
Girl. This was X, but we don't know what it is, right? It's a big question mark. So cute. So this is the inside of a woman's female reproductive organs. You know, there's her vaginal canal, the cervix. So when you, at your conception, was 1 in 300 million. When the husband ejaculates semen, 300 million sperm come out. And then maybe just a few million make it through the cervix. They're in a race, you know, they go, oh, I'm going to be the strongest. I'm going to be the one to get there. And the wife has emitted just 1 egg, right? Only 1 egg into the fallopian tube. So it's waiting. And then only sometimes less than 100, a few dozen make it to the fallopian tube. And then out of that, those were the strongest sperm to make it through. The egg picks from one of those. Then the egg, once it's been fertilized, it slowly makes its way to the uterus, which is meant to grow and expand with the growth of the baby. You know, if the baby was to grow here, what would happen? We have ectopic pregnancy. We have to be rushed to the emergency room. The egg has to make it over here where it's made to grow and develop. So this part I wanted to read. So the 6 gifts we've been given at birth is our sexual inheritance. The fact that you're born male or female and will grow up to become a man or a woman with the ability to unite together with somebody of the opposite sex to create a new human being. Here's a video that's by this Alexander Segris. He's a former associate professor of medicine at Yale University. The video shows the development of a human being from the first cell formed by fertilization of an egg by sperm until a new baby is born. The most brilliant scientists with budgets of hundreds of millions of dollars cannot do this. They cannot recreate this no matter what. But you, in partnership with somebody of the opposite sex, have the power to create a new human being. Even some people say, well, there's a test tube and this. You still needed a male and a female. You can't do it with just bots or something like this, you know. I usually find, even in today's world with many things going on, nobody tries to shoot this down or ask questions, or, you know, this is just science, you know. Well, how can two females make a baby? They can't. They need some extra help, you know. So each of these 6 things, your health, your mind, your heart, your ability to love, your conscience, your sexual inheritance, are far more valuable than $1 million. Why? Because if you're missing any of these things and you were a wealthy person, you'd probably spend all you had to regain these 6 things, which make life worth living. Of course, just as it would be foolish to squander $1 million, wouldn't it be a waste for a person to misuse or waste any of these gifts? So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you this video, which is fascinating. I never get tired of watching this video. I think you've all seen the TED Talks. You know, they give people like 10 minutes to give a presentation. Well, this was a shortened version. It's about 5 minutes. And it's from conception to birth. So now you have the oocyte, that's, you know, a name for the egg. There's the sperm, 300 million sperm in a big race. And there the egg, the sperm are trying to get to the egg. Now it's been inseminated. The egg and the sperm becomes one cell. Within 24 hours, the egg starts to divide. 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Then the fertilized ovum divides and keeps dividing. It divides totally anew every 12 to 15 hours. This is the early embryo. And that's the yolk sac feeding the baby like you would a chicken. Now, usually I stop right here. Let's get this a little bit. And I say, what is this? Does anybody know what this is? This is the heart. At 25 days, this heart is beating. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. Right now, you can't tell it's a human or not. We know it's a mammal because of the vertebrae. Look at the heart is beating. This is the eyes, the tailbone, the feet, the hands. There's the eye sockets. Look at the veins. The veins go in the correct way. Now it's also got this tailbone, arms and legs, and there's webbed fingers, still developing. Brain is almost non-existent. It continues to grow at this speed for the, if the baby is growing so fast, the fetus, they call it, if it continued to grow at this fast pace for 9 months, it would weigh 1.5 tons. So it's just these first 3 months are so pivotal. Even some girls don't even know that they're pregnant, but the baby is developing. So if somebody's drinking alcohol, what's happening to the baby? It's going into the baby. Is that healthy? No. If it's doing drugs, also, if you're very angry, upset about things, the baby can feel all of these things. It's hypersensitive. This is 45 days. The heart is pumping. I think it beats like twice as fast as the mother's heart. Yes, And then you have the eye sockets. And there's a little baby. It looks more like a baby at 51 days. It's saying, oh, I wish I had a video game to play. It looks like Pokemon. developing retina. It cannot close its eyes, but it's got eyes, but it doesn't have eyelids. The baby might even be sucking its thumb. Look how big the brain is. The brain is huge because we're human beings. The reason why the baby moves and kicks, it's developing its skeleton and its muscular development. Now the baby, this is how, whatever the mother eats or drinks is fed into the baby's belly button area. 12 weeks old, let's see, 12 weeks old. 12 weeks old, they have, you know, it's like, I don't mention in different penis, but their genitals look the same, you know? Then later on, so you can't tell if it's a girl or a boy yet. Now at 8 months, usually I think it's 4 or 5 months, that's when you can actually see the difference. And, you know, for the older kids, you know, I says, like, you got these 2 little sacks here. If there's nothing in it, it's a girl. If you've got 2 little, I said, chiquito bolitos, that's Spanish for little balls in there, then it's a boy. And then you have the penis is a little nubula. I says, boys, don't worry, it grows more later. And if it's not a boy, then it's a girl, that's the clitoris. So at 8 months, looks more like a regular baby. And if it was born, it could develop outside the womb, but it's better if it waits 9 months so it has all the nutrients and development that it needs. And this is, the mother's legs are down below. During childbirth, during labor, the babies know to flip up. I don't know how, but they do. So here you have an enactment, a reenactment. The mother's pushing, and the contractions actually are very healthy for the baby, helps with the lungs. If she was giving birth underneath water, the baby would naturally hold its breath. See how you can see how the pelvis is, it can expand with the baby. Let me out of here. This is a real baby being born. Come on, baby, you could do it. You could do it. Come on, baby. Yay, baby. Oh, I love that video. Yeah, of course, it's much longer in the original presentation, but again, that was TED Talks. I think it's called Conception to Birth, but yeah, it's very interesting. Any questions on that so far? So we keep it very simple. It's mostly, you know, the miracle of childbirth. When I was growing up, they always showed childbirth as such a horrible experience with the woman screaming. Sometimes she's dying, you know. I thought, I never want to have babies. I almost got myself fixed so that I was unable to have children. Luckily, I didn't. But because I love being a mother now. I couldn't stand children. My whole time growing up, I didn't want to go through childbirth. That sounds horrible. And I tell you, it was the best experience of my life. I loved it. You know, I loved childbirth. I love being a mother. You know, my kids are in their 30s. 2 are married, 1's engaged. And I'm still so involved in their lives, you know, helping to support them. So it's kind of amazing. So part 2. Okay, time. This is called Protecting Your Future. And what it's really about is, you know, with teenagers, the part of the brain that thinks of consequences is not fully mature till the age of 25. So we're expecting so much from these kids. That's why I tell kids, that's why you need parents, you know, is follow their rules. You know, like I have one of my daughters, she said, I was driving her to school. She's 12 years old. You know, I got her in the car. And she says, Mommy, this house like a prison. I go, whoa, what do you mean like a prison? She says, I might as well be in jail. And I thought, well, this is a teachable moment. So I wished her a nice day. And that night we cuddled up in bed and I said, you know, has your mama ever done anything to lie to you or tell you things that ruined your life? And she said, no. I says, look, let's make a deal. Just to 18, you follow all my rules, do what I say. And then at 18, if you feel like, no, mom, you're full of it, you know, I want to do my own thing. I says, honey, I will always love you. You just can't live here anymore. You have to go out on your own. Well, my daughter lived with us till she was 25. And she said, Mommy, I'm going to be even a stricter mother than you. She's such a good mother. She's so good. And I know it's freaking her out a little bit. So protecting our future, you know, with happiness and good health, you know, there's a lot of things we need to do, but good health is just as much about what you don't do as what you do. Good health is just as much about what you don't do as what you do. You know, so there's certain things to avoid, and it can help you be more successful. Here's a track runner. He doesn't take drugs. He works hard all the time, and he has honest success. Nobody can take away his success. How would you feel, you know, you won an award and the big trophy is on your mantle, you know, you've got kids, there's a big knock on the door and says, sorry, you know, we just found out that you cheated when you got all these awards. We're taking your award, and your children are wrapped around their ankles. No, that's my parents' award. You can't take it. How do you explain to your children that you cheated? You know, how do you explain that? You know, so it's you want honest success that nobody can take away, and lasting happiness. You know, so many times, especially when people are so young, they're thinking of happiness in the moment, and they're thinking, we are in a committed relationship. We're always going to be together. No, you've only known each other for 2 weeks, and already you're thinking this way. So we're not talking about happiness in the moment. We're really talking about a lasting happiness that lasts a lifetime. And that's a huge, huge difference. And also having true freedom. You know, I've had friends before, you know, they see cops and, oh my gosh, where's my stash? You know, they're so worried about things, throw this out the window. You know, like with me, you can test my body fluids all you want. I've had 9 criminal background checks, and I'm not afraid to take them, you know, because I have true freedom. I'm not worried about somebody finding out something about me that I want hidden. I don't do criminal activity. You know, I have true freedom within certain boundaries, within following the law, following rules. I have total freedom, and it's such a great feeling. But some of our friends, they try to take the quick and easy. They try to act like they're grown up. What do you think the quick and easy, when young people try to act like they're grown up, what do you think kind of things they're doing? What do you think? Don't all jump at once. Smoke cigarettes. Even we used to, David probably remembers this, how do you hold your cigarette? And girls would, so you would light my cigarette, you know, as a way to meet people, you know, like you're sophisticated, you know, getting lung cancer, you smell like an ashtray. They try to, does smoking make you cool? Does it make you grown up? No, it makes you disgusting, you know. How about doing drugs? You know, they say, oh, you know, I'm cool, I smoke a joint, you know, here, have this blunt, you know. Does that make you grown up? No, that's why they say it makes you dopey, because you're just doing dope, right? So quick and easy, you know, like, oh boy, you know, you think you're going to college, you think you're going to be able to cheat like sometimes you do in high school. You will not. In college, you cannot even turn in an essay that you turned in before. It's called plagiarism. It's your essay that you did before and you didn't give credit to yourself. It's plagiarism. That's against, they will kick you out of college. They'll keep your $5,000, or they'll put you on academic suspension. They have special software. They put all your work in. If you even take one sentence that belonged to somebody else, they penalize you for that. And here's another quick and easy. Oh, just take this little bag up there and they're going to give you another little bag of money and I'll give you $100. Why they give you $100? Because you're going to prison. If anybody gets caught, you're the one that was caught with the drugs, not them. That's why they're paying you. And you think, oh, I'm fitting in, I'm cool. No, they're just using you. They think you're just a dummy. Another quick and easy, oh, I'm at the dollar store. this lipstick's only $1. They're not going to miss it. Yes, you will be arrested. You will have a criminal record. And please don't think, oh, I'm only 12 years old. They won't. No, they have nice little handcuffs that fit you very nicely. Now you have a criminal record. Now your mother knows. What's your mother going to do? Say, oh, why didn't you get some for me? No, you will not, you won't have a life for the next year. Another quick and easy, this is very sad. You know, a lot of people don't realize they just want to try a drug and they don't realize they become hooked. When I talk to drug addicts that were recovering, they said, Miss Linda, when we got caught, we weren't doing drugs to get high. We were doing drugs just so we could get up and go to work that day, just to become normal. They were doing drugs because they're so addicted and so out of control. And it's just very sad. And then, you know, you've broken the law. Just like marijuana, they say, oh, it's just like drinking a beer. No, it's not. It's got fentanyl in it. It's so highly addictive, more addictive than morphine, more addictive than heroin. Why do they make it addictive? Because they want a customer for life. Usually people don't know they're an addict till they try to quit. And then reality starts to set in. So this girl, she got beat up. Now, you know, people don't deserve to be beat up, but if you have a friend that's being beaten, we call it domestic violence, even if they're just dating, shouldn't they go see the guidance counselor, see somebody? Don't be afraid to report. Does somebody care about you if they're beating you like this? I knew a girl that was being beaten and she says, yeah, but I was being disrespectful to him, you know, so I kind of deserved it. No, you didn't. But that's how she was processing it in her brain, you know. So these kind of things, you can get immediate result. People will believe you. You know, you just, you know, some things you can avoid and some things happen, but it's best thing is to speak up. And how about this? She's babysitting. He knocks on the door. Hey, you know, what's up? You know, how about some Netflix and chill? You know? In the hood, that means let's have sex. You think you're just watching videos, Netflix and chill. And she's thinking, oh, it's so romantic. He's so nice and he smells so good and he's such a good kisser. And he's thinking, oh, did I bring my condoms? You know, tonight's my lucky night. Even when I talk to a lot of males, I say, you really need, you know, you think you're just practicing. You know, a lot of guys say they're just practicing. I want to get rid of my virginity and then I'll know what to do on my wedding night. Oh, so you're practicing on young ladies. Every young lady is another man's daughter. Would you want somebody messing with your daughter? Boy, do they. They're very clear about this one. They're very clear about this. It takes a real man to say no, you know, so maybe he says, instead of messing around with her, he says, hey, when you're done babysitting, come out to the park with the rest of our friends. Let's shoot some hoops. Let's not do something we both might regret. Who's showing how much he really cares about her, caring about her future? The one that wants to just score some points in the immediate, or somebody who's actually caring about her reputation and future? And, you know, he's trying to use self-control himself, you know, so it's just something to really think of, because sex usually doesn't just happen. It's a progression of events. One thing leads to another. We can always think, I'm just kissing, we're just doing this, we're just doing that. And then you hit a home run and now there's a baby. You know, it's just something to think about. And how about having a baby? Does that make you grow? I've had 12-year-old girls in 7th grade tell me, oh, Miss Linda, you don't understand. If I get pregnant, I can get WIC, I can get SNAP. In the high school, they're going to babysit my baby. I'm going to get a lot of money. And I said, well, what are you going to do when you're, you know, you need somebody to take care of the baby? Well, that's what my mother's going to do. That's what mothers are for. I said, does your mother know your plan? She says, oh no, she'd kill me. So yeah, it's really sad. I had this one girl, she stayed after class in one of the high schools. She was a senior, beautiful young lady. And she says, yeah, Miss Linda, she says, when I was a sophomore in this high school, I was really in love with this young man and we were so in love. And, you know, a couple of times we forgot the condom and I got pregnant, but I was so happy because I thought, oh my God, we're going to have a baby. That's so exciting. And she says, I didn't even text him. I ran to school. And then as soon as I saw him that morning, I said, guess what? You're going to be a father. Miss Linda, he broke up with me right in my face right there. This was a guy who told me every day how much he loved me. He wanted to marry me. He told everybody I was a hoe, destroyed my reputation. She says, Miss Linda, I'm graduating this year. I'm going to college. My son is now 2 years old, but I really wish I had waited. I would not give him up for anything, but I really wish I had waited, you know, because you could see her life was so much more complicated and challenging, you know. It's just something to think about. So when we think about the quick and easy, are we really getting what we really want, or are we just getting our fix in the moment? This is the big thing. And the problem is too, is when we get in the habit of doing these kind of things, then we become grown up, we become adult, we're still doing dumb stuff. We're still using people for our benefit to make us happy. When we're done with them, we dump them, you know, we use people. And then we're never happy. We're never happy because we're not happy with ourselves. So it's just something to think about. So this picture here, this is like our dreams. You know, you think of your goals, things you want to accomplish in your life. It's like the bright light at the end of the tunnel. And this track, the track is, you know, as long as we stay on the right track, we keep our eyes on the prize, we will accomplish our goals and dreams. But sometimes obstacles present themselves. What are obstacles that could rob you of your dreams? What do you think, Vicki? What are some obstacles that could rob you of your dreams?
So many. I mean,
So many.
I think too, I was thinking when you were talking about the girls that were getting pregnant, there's so many that never really had a good relationship with their fathers. And
Yeah.
They run to some guy or some other person thinking that's going to be their life, their good life, their dream, you know, just because they didn't get love from dad, you know.
It's an unfortunate situation, and it really is. I mean, men are so important. Men are so important, and our society is not giving them that message. You know, it's like even with psychologists, sociologists say a woman can be the best mother in the world, but she can't teach her son to avoid aggressive behavior and become a man. You know, it's just the male brain, he needs a good role model. Sorry, my kids still call me. You know, so it takes another healthy male role model, and that's why some of our kids join gangs. They get an unfortunate, because that person becomes in that role model. With the females, they tend to have older male partners, sex partners, because they feel protected by this person. I had a little girl, the teacher took me out in the hallway and said she's pregnant. She was cute as a button. She was even wearing a little Catholic uniform. I'll never forget. Her name was Brittany. And I says, well, my message is still the same, whether she's pregnant or not, you know. And then I talked to the nurse, you know, about it. And she says, oh, no, that's her second child. In the 7th grade, she was impregnated by a 19-year-old man. And now she's pregnant by a 26-year-old man. And I talked to her mother about it and said, this is a rapist. This is a pedophile. And then her mother said, oh, no, he's blood. He's blood. He's part of the family. And I'm thinking, gee whiz, you know. And I met this girl in high school, and she wrote on her evaluation, Miss Linda, one of my children is 3 and the other one's 2. And I love my children to death, and I would never give them up for anything. But I really wish, my mother does everything. All I have to do is get my education, but I really wish I had waited. And she says, sometimes I'm with them and a handsome young guy comes up to me and he says, oh, is this your brother or sister? And I say, no, it's my children. They go, see ya, you know, but yeah, it's kind of sad. So as she started to mature, she started having some regrets. We're going to talk a little bit about STDs. You know, back in the day, you know, we only had like 2 major STDs, syphilis and gonorrhea. Now, because sex is no big deal, we have condoms. Now, instead of 2 major STDs, we have over 24 major STDs, not including all the strains and families. So this guy on the left, he looks spaced out because he has AIDS, not HIV, and it's attacked different parts of his brain. Maybe he wouldn't recognize his own mother if she walked in the room. This is Kaposi Sarcoma. This is what was once a very rare form of cancer, but this is very common with AIDS patients. He could have been an athlete before, but he can barely get out of a wheelchair now. And what happens is your immune system is shot. This is herpes. And normally you might get herpes in the genitals, herpes in the back, or herpes in the mouth. Sometimes I say little birds get it in their mouth. But anyway, he has it all over his body because his immune system is so shot now that he has AIDS. And so basically there's 3 stages of the HIV disease. Again, our program began as an HIV and AIDS awareness program, and then it developed into character education. How do you have good relationships? So human immunodeficiency, that means your immune system is deficient, it's not doing its job. And V is for virus, meaning there's no cure. Now we do finally have a medicine to reduce the viral load, but it's not curing anything. So basically there's 3 stages. The first stage is no symptoms. Now we've seen each other a few times. How many of you can tell by looking at me that I have HIV, the virus that leads to AIDS? Can you tell by looking at me? No, you can't.
No.
Do you know why you can't tell? Because I don't have it. But if I did, I may not know myself because there's no signs or symptoms in the first, 1 or 2 years. The kids always laugh. That always cracks them up because when I says, how many of you can tell that I have it? They stop breathing. I also explain you can't get it from the air. But anyway, and then from 2 to 7 years after you originally got it, and we do say how you can get it through oral sex, vaginal sex, anal sex, any activity that could cause somebody's infected body fluids to enter into your body. I had to do a whole thing. Can you get it by playing basketball with somebody? No. Can you get it by shaking hands? No. It's usually some sexual contact or sharing drug injecting needles or through the birthing process. You have to exchange body fluids. So then after 2 to 7 years, now it becomes symptomatic. You actually have symptoms of the HIV disease. Serious weight loss, your coach is telling you bulk up, but you can't. Why? Because you have chronic diarrhea, you got to wear a diaper with your jersey. Fatigue, you sleep all night, you're still too tired to bounce a ball on Monday. Hot fevers, night sweats. When I saw a young woman at a college and she had a 200 T-cell count, she was very weak and sick. And she said, night sweats is not like a hot August night where you're sweating in bed. It's like you peed in the bed. You have so much sweat coming off your body. Swollen lymph nodes. And then after about 10 years, approximately 10 years from the original time that you contracted it, then you're diagnosed with AIDS. A stands for acquired. Give me some of that AIDS. D is immunodeficient. Your immune system is deficient. It's not protecting you. And syndrome is a group of health-related problems that now attack your body. Nobody dies of HIV. Nobody dies of AIDS. We die of opportunistic diseases that take over the body. So we're going to show you a few more slides and then some of the STDs. This is a map of what country? This is Russia, China. What country is this? Oh, it's America. Okay, great. And when I was teaching in Jersey City, this was Jersey City, we had the highest rate of HIV per capita in all of America when I started teaching there. And so 1983, this is AIDS cases. We're not even talking about HIV, but definitely AIDS cases. 1983, we had 1,000 reported cases. And then this is Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico. 1985, 10,000 cases. Is the numbers going up or down? Going up. 1989. See, when I'm teaching New Jersey, it was so, they went, oh my gosh, here's Pennsylvania, here's Florida, and the 8th grade boys say, I'm moving here tomorrow. And I said, why don't you have any AIDS here? Because nobody lives here. It's cornfields. Here's desert, this whole desert, some desert. This is, and again, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm an old lady, you're young people. It's not where you live that gives you AIDS. It's what you do. If you're not messing around, it's impossible, pretty much impossible for you to get it. 1995, oh, perico, lo siento. Jeez. And here again, this is where happy feet are. It's solid ice, islands, a lot of tourist trade. So 500,000, 1997, 626,000 cases. So this is, a graph. You can always, give them more details here, what the colors mean. So this is where we have our greatest infections. And here's where you have, least infections. Also, it's less populated, tends to be areas with big cities or a lot of tourists in and out. I'm kind of surprised about Pennsylvania, but I imagine it's Philadelphia that is a big problem. New York State, it's actually, as we know, more Manhattan and the New York City metropolitan area. So, yeah. So 1 out of 4 babies born to an HIV-infected mother goes on to develop AIDS, but if they test the mother ahead of time, they can reduce those infections by 90%. 90% of them will not be born with HIV. However, the mother has HIV. What happens if she dies in 5 years from AIDS? Now the baby's an orphan, and that's what's happened in Africa. We have about 2 million AIDS orphan babies, and they've always taken them to relatives to try to, but they're overwhelmed now. And so, it's just very sad, totally. It's one good thing about HIV. It's totally avoidable. Unless you got it from your mother when you were born, HIV, and you're not having sex outside of marriage, HIV is something you don't need to worry about. So every year, these are babies in Romania. When people got HIV, they would just drop their babies off in the orphanage. This is a guy dying of AIDS. This is, there's twins, actually. They have a Kaposi Sarcoma. It's very sad. They're like 18 months old. So every year, 1.7 million people worldwide become infected with HIV every year worldwide. Almost 700,000 die of AIDS-related illnesses. Again, you don't die of AIDS, but your immune system is low, so you die of opportunistic diseases. 1 out of 4 people who have HIV or AIDS do not know they're infected. 1 out of 4 people, because again, there's no symptoms in the beginning. Some people even have AIDS, but they don't have symptoms in the beginning. Now, the antiretroviral drugs prolong the lives of many people, but the drugs themselves have very many disagreeable side effects. It's very expensive, and the burdens of taking a very powerful drug every day. Now, it's always important, even though you can see the slides give you triggers to speak on, it's really important that you read your script so that because I had somebody that I was really surprised. She was giving the presentation, to her club, and then I was viewing her, just observing her, and I was shocked. She was just going by the words on the slide and totally speaking about something that wasn't about that slide at all, because she was just doing it off the top of her head. So I just want to kind of mention that. And the other thing is, we always have to be keeping up to date with our scripts and our slides. Like if you get the program, whenever something's updated, because Dr. Panzer is meticulous about updating medical data. Like even that last slide, 2 slides ago, I saw, oh, the numbers are increasing, in other words. So sometimes when I first began, if the slide looked the same, I assumed he didn't change it, but he might have changed the script. So it's on the bottom of each slide, when you're just looking at the regular slides, you'll see the script below the slide. So denial This is how it was when I first started. I don't want to look at anything like this. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to talk about this. Does this make anything go away? How many of you think this could make things get worse? You'll see hands go up, so it's very interesting, especially adults. Kids love it. And then I even tell at some point, I'll say to the students, how many of you think I'm trying to scare you not to have sex? Very rarely, but once in a while I get one or two hands going up, because this is what we used to get accused of. Oh, you're just trying to scare the kids not to have sex. And that says, how many of you think I'm trying to create an awareness so you make healthy choices? All those hands go up. They understand, they're not scared. So why adults put this on kids? So we do have a little warning on sexually transmitted diseases, graphic images that are disturbing to some viewers. In all honesty, and we used to never have these slides. Dr. Panzer did not pick bad graphic slides by any means, but anyway. So gonorrhea is a common STD. It get an infection in the genitals, the rectum, or the throat. And I ask them, what's genitals? And I let them say, what's rectum? And then, then I can pat myself back there, Unfortunately, anal sex is, in the urban cities schools where I taught, anal sex was considered a method of birth control, and they felt that if they did anal sex, you can't get an STD that way, when actually it's easier from the back than the front. Painful burning with urinating. Just make sure they know these words. What's urinating? I ask them, what is it? And then they'll say, and I say, thank you. White, yellow, or green discharge from the penis. Now, when you're growing, it's normal sometimes to have a discharge, but especially if you're having sex and you have a discharge, you really need to go see a doctor. You need to see a medical doctor. We have clinics all over the place where you can, see doctors, things like this. Vaginal discharge or bleeding in between periods. It's not your period, but you're still bleeding. If untreated, now gonorrhea is pretty much completely curable, easily curable, but if you're afraid to go to the doctor, you're afraid to have it looked at, it can cause serious and permanent health problems in both sexes. Just because the symptoms go away, did the STD go away? No, it didn't. It didn't, and it can cause permanent, and then maybe it makes you sterile. So when you want to have a baby, you're unable to. Just a lot of problems, much more serious. Some of them can actually kill you. Common STDs, easy to cure. So chlamydia is the most common bacterial STD, and it shows, the pus, that's why I have this, they took the Q-tip. This is a cervix. The cervix should be the color of the inside of your mouth. This is red and pus, because why? It's swollen, it's infected. So 50% chance of getting it per encounter. It's really that easy to get. In Rutgers, they were testing, as part of a research project, they were testing their female students for chlamydia, but they didn't bother testing them, I think, if they were at least 35 years old, because they just assume they have it, Painful pee, itching, discharge. What's the most common sign or symptom? Invisible, no sign or symptom at all. Even a doctor cannot tell by looking at you if you have chlamydia. He has to do some testing. Without treatment, and again, this is easily cured in most situations. Without treatment, it can cause pelvic inflammatory disease, which is terrible for the health of the young lady. Teenage girls are higher risk than older women. Why do you think this is? Why are teenage girls at higher risk for chlamydia than older women? Number one, the lining of the cervix is very thin, much easier for an STD to permeate. The major reason is with females, their first sex partners tend to be older, more experienced people, not necessarily a teenager, more likely to have an STD than, say, somebody younger. So it's that's primarily the two big reasons why. Pelvic inflammatory disease, again, this is the egg trying to get through the fallopian tube, but if you have an STD, it could make those little follicles that are supposed to push the egg to your uterus, the fertilized egg. So now the baby can't get here. Your baby starts to grow in this skinny little fallopian tube. What's going to happen? You have to have an emergency surgery. It could explode, you know. It's a huge, huge deal. Then you have syphilis. This woman, her mother was pregnant. She says, oh, I can't wait to hold my beautiful baby in my arms, you know. She'll have beautiful skin, beautiful everything. Then when her daughter was born, the mother did not know that she had syphilis. So when her daughter was born, it's hard for you to see here, but you can see closer on the slides, all this is scarring because of the syphilis. And her beautiful daughter, she should have been beautiful. She has no nose here. It's all scars here and stuff, you know. So it causes sores on the genitals and a rash on the hands and the feet. They can heal and totally go away, and you go, oh man, thank goodness. But did the syphilis heal? No, it's still in the body. Unless they cure it with antibiotics, it can spread to your heart, your eyes, your brain, eventually causing blindness, paralysis, or death. There's danger to the unborn child of meningitis, deformities, or even stillbirth. And I asked them, what's stillbirth? And that, you know, means they're born dead. I think when I asked them, it's a thing. Oh, that's another thing. When I say, how many think I'm trying to scare you not to have sex? Usually it's after I've done a few of these slides, because some do feel a little uncomfortable. So genital herpes, these are little sores. Now, it's not acne. It's really blisters. It's very painful. They cause sores and painful blisters. 1 out of 8 adults is infected in the United States. Do you hear anybody talking about this? No? I kept thinking today when I was driving and saying, if they would put half as much emphasis on STDs and drug abuse as they do on the COVID virus and masks and vaccines, we wouldn't have these problems. It can be controlled with medication, but there's no cure. You still have it. You can have the virus on your skin just before an outbreak happens, right after an outbreak heals. There can still be enough virus shedding on the skin to skin contact. And I get explicit with the kids. Is your mouth skin? Yes. The genital skin? Is the rectum skin? Yes, skin to skin contact, not shaking hands, not wrestling, but skin to skin contact with that area. How about if you took a flashlight in somebody's mouth and they look so fresh and so clean, and then they went down on you? Could you get this incurable disease all over your stuff? Yes, yes, skin to skin contact. The most common sign or symptom is what? No sign or symptom at all. I usually say that a few times to them. Pregnant women with active herpes need surgical delivery, a C-section to avoid brain damage or death to the birth. I remember with my first child, they kept saying, are you sure you don't have herpes? Do you have herpes? Have you ever had herpes? And I says, would you quit asking? Because like, I hadn't had sex outside of marriage for like 15 years and I was monogamous, you know? So, yeah, so I wasn't worried about it. Human papilloma virus. This is real, this is the leading cause of cervical cancer. You know how they always want you to do a pap smear? Nobody ever told me they want to do a pap smear to see if you have cervical cancer. Before I guess they didn't have a test for human papilloma virus. Nobody told me cervical cancer was from having sex. 1 out of 4 females in the United States, ages 14 to 59, are currently infected. I'm going to make this my last slide because it's 8:13. I'm so sorry. 14 to 59 are infected. 90% of genital cancers, penis, cervical, etc., are caused by this. Some strains cause genital warts and some cause cancer. Teenage girls, I always tell the ladies, can you say 200? Say 200. They'll say 200. And I go, teenage girls have a 200% higher rate of cervical cancer as an adult than cervical cancer as adults, yeah, if they're involved in this way. So basically, that's where we're going to stop today because of time constraints. And what we'll start next Thursday is the emotional impact of oral sex. Because oral sex was like, even I was really surprised. Teenagers told me that a kiss on the lips was more intimate than having somebody do oral sex on you. A kiss on the lips was more intimate, or in other words, oral sex, somebody's mouth on your genitals was less intimate than kissing on the lips. Like it's no big deal. It's almost expected on a date. That's really sad. So we talk about the emotional impact because it's affecting boys too. It's not just the girls. It's affecting the boys. You know, that's why they get into such big fights. They may hate that person, but then they see them with somebody else and they get very aggressive. Do you have any questions? I know for adults, sometimes this is the hard one for them to get by. Oh my gosh, Miss Linda, do I have to talk about this? STDs, I want to talk about happy stuff. But, you know, sometimes we have to, knowledge of STDs doesn't really stop kids from having sex, but at least I tell them my goal is, at least now you can't tell me, your mom, or your teacher that you didn't know, because now you know. You know, but it's almost criminal, I believe, not to at least let people know. They think practice safe sex. Well, how much protection does a latex condom give you to protect your heart? Nothing. Do you know, when I ask teenagers, what's the benefits of having sex as a teenager? They can't name one. And the older teenagers will say the word nothing, that there are no benefits. You know, so it's just really helped them. You know, I can't tell you how many kids have thanked me just because now they feel happier. They says, I knew this was the right thing, but now I understand, because they have to stand up for themselves. You know, people say, you're not having sex, what's wrong with you? We teach them to say, nothing wrong with me, what's wrong with you? So any questions? Don't all jump at once. So I gave the script to Bergie, and I believe she's passed them out, and or she'll be emailing them to you. So the script is, I'm really going through things very quickly and lightly. I'm not doing a lot in depth, but I do like to stop and mention about how I deal with certain issues, because I've had pretty much every issue come up. And this program you can take to the bank. You know, people can be pro-condom. They rarely are, you know, like I'm talking about teachers, but they can't fight against this, except some used to say, yeah, but Miss Linda, they're going to do it anyway. I said, yeah, but they need to, first of all, it's a fatalistic, oh, they're going to drop out of school anyway, so why teach them anything, you know, if you have that attitude. But a lot of kids decided to stop and wait, you know, so it's, anyway.
Linda, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank
you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I hope this is, you know, I don't know from your perspective, I hope this is something understandable, you know, that I love the STDs, to be honest, because it had such a big impact with them, but it's really the emotional impact that we deal with, mostly part 3, that really has a profound, because it deals with happiness. You know, the STDs, I mean, we're an STD country right now. I mean, it's shocking how many people have STDs, incurable STDs. It's not fair to just say wear a condom. Go to a medical doctor and say, you know, my boyfriend has herpes, but we really want to have sex. What brand condom would you suggest? David, you can ask your friends this, your doctor friends. What do you think a doctor is going to say? Trojan? He's going to say, no, I'm not going to have sex with that person. But they're telling our children, just wear a little piece of latex and you'll be fine. You'll be safe. You know, it's beyond comprehension. And again, they're just practicing. You know, they think this is going to make them happy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're in a great time of exposing what's true and addressing what's been false so that we can turn things around.
Yeah.
And we have this as a core issue why our whole country is so broken down, broken marriages and
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
And people's own sense of value. So thank you. So we'll study and learn, and we have all the scripts. So if you have any questions this week, please send them in advance, or anything that you'd like to have a little bit more covered in next week's presentation.
Absolutely.
So next week's presentation is mostly focused on the emotional impacts.
No, we're still trucking through the SCD part 2. So they can look at the script and then they can see, let me see where we are. Okay, let's see, herpes we did. Okay, so we're rounding the bend with that. Yep, so, yep. Oh, he took things a little bit out of order. Okay, yeah, so we do have to talk about the failure rate of condoms because people will bring that up, but we'll have refusal skills, which is really fun. And I tell you, I have refusal skills. I mean, okay, these are the girls saying no. And then I have the next group, the boys saying no. The boys are so assertive, way more than the girls. You would think, oh, the boys want to have sex. Yeah, their penis wants to have sex, but their mind doesn't. You know, I just want to mention one thing. You know, a lot of us are filled with a lot of emotion because we see how can everything be going to hell in a handbasket, you know? This is like Prozac. When you feel so much better, I can give this information and data. It's just science, you know, and you're throwing a lifeline to people who feel they don't have any choices. They have to fit in, you know. Now we're going to help people. You're the cool ones because you're doing what's the best thing to do, you know. It's a big relief to be able to do this work, I tell you.
This is exciting going forward, teaching the refusal skills and really empowering young people.
Mhm.
And really, I think this can affect also older people as well.
Absolutely, will help me. But I just want to mention the part 2, I should be finishing up. Maybe we'll take 20 minutes. I'll really go fast for it because you got the script. And then I'll get into the part 3, what we call is maturing your love, difference between immature love, mature love, things like this. And the kids love it. I'm telling you, they're writing down, Miss Linda, you're going too fast. I'm writing it down. I go, well, you've never taken notes in your life.
Right. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Linda, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Next
so
week.
much.
Next week.